Chapter 16. Cause and Effect. Now, let's continue. We're about to reach a very important part. Min said, before we start, I'd like you to remember one very important universal law, which states, nothing in the universe can exist as it is, without the intervention of another force. Or, in other words, everything has a cause and effect. This sounds familiar. I think I've heard about it before somewhere. I commented, the people on your planet, who you call gurus, have evolved and arrived at the ultimate truth, and they are all well aware of this law. Have you ever wondered why our worlds can rotate around themselves constantly for millions of years? Min asked in a tone that didn't expect an answer. If you think that everything happened by itself, and without any intervening force, then you are ignoring this universal law, he said without waiting for my answer. What about the belief that the universe was created from the one great explosion, and all existing things are the result of that? Is that correct? I asked, referring to the Big Bang Theory. Half of it is correct, which is the explosion itself. However, as mentioned earlier, it happened suddenly and in a widespread pattern. Everything has always been in that state since then. Min explained, what is incorrect is that this concept actually violates the fundamental rule. Let's take the case of the Earth's rotation. That concept tries to convince you that the initial explosion made our world rotate constantly, from the beginning until now, and that there was no other contributing factor. By that concept, the world should have rotated faster at the moment of the initial explosion, and then gradually slowed down. But this concept is not the truth. The truth is that, after the explosion was over, the rotation still continued, consistently. Min stated, with a serious expression on his face. Now, if you agree with the rule that I've just mentioned, the question is, what made our world go round for such a very long time? He asked. The answer is that all the small things created as the end result of the process, the so-called living things, are the origin of all energy. Of all life forms, whether they are animals or plants, humans are the most wonderful creation of all, because humans can emit the most intense frequency while animals can only emit much less, at a ratio of only 1/98 of the human energy. Plants emit even less. The ratio there is only 1/673. However, plants and animals have the advantage in that their emitted frequency is stable and constant in the way they vibrate. And that happens while the animals are awake and when plants synthesize light. Objects also emit frequencies but only very little. It's almost close to none, with a ratio of only 1 in 72,171 th of the energy emitted by human beings. Min went on, humans can emit a tremendous number of frequencies although they can't do it consistently. And, at the same time, they are the only species that is capable of emitting the opposing negative frequency, too. He explained. The intense fuse and merge frequency emitted by each living thing such as plants, animals, and humans contributes to the positive energy that sustains them. This positive frequency flourishes on qualities such as bonding, homogeneity, positivity, or loving, to name a few. On the other hand, the negative vibrational frequency feeds on aspects such as separation, division, subtraction, or hatred. In short, positive frequencies are emitted by plants, animals, and humans, while negative ones are only generated by humans alone. Now, let's take a look at the elements of our two worlds. Physical characteristics consist of only a few % of solid elements, which only exist on the crust of the Earth. Above the Earth's crust, 3/4 of all elements consist of water. Below or underneath the crust, there are several kinds of liquids, running from less dense liquids like water to much more dense ones like magma. Mean continued, and at the deepest inner layer, the core of the Earth, which comprises around 2/3 of its total mass, is an element called pure oxygen. It has sticky, viscous characteristics, and the color of a green emerald, glistening like the wings of a jewel beetle. This element is very sensitive to only positive frequency. Whenever it interacts with positive frequency, there is a nuclear fusion reaction, in the form of a continuous burst of explosions, he went on. Two phenomena then occur with the burst of this element. First, the rotating expansion of the pure oxygen element causes a strong movement, which makes the world rotate around itself. Let's imagine we put water into a ball, then swirl the water inside and put the ball down on the ground. We will see that the ball rotates, driven by the rotating water inside. Secondly, Mean continued, when there is an explosion of this pure oxygen element, it breaks down into oxygen gas that pushes itself up. Two things follow that reaction. The Earth's surface gets pushed out of the plate, helping the Earth's crust to maintain its spherical shape, like the gas inside a balloon that pushes the balloon's surface into its circular shape. Then the oxygen gas will slowly infiltrate the atmosphere of the world and nourish life. And the cause of the explosion of pure oxygen in the core of the world is the positive frequency emitted by all plants, animals, and humans. Mean paused and took a deep breath after this lengthy explanation. You're telling me, with all that you've said, that we are the ones that make the world go round? I asked, not quite convinced. You understood correctly, he nodded. Wow, if I explain this to someone on my planet, he would most likely say that I'm insane and totally crazy. I remarked, you have previously told me many things that are beyond my expectations, but this one is too much for me to believe. I told him honestly, I'm not telling you to believe me, but I'm telling you to believe in your own ability of discernment. So, if you believe me, it's not because of me but because of your own thoughts. You have to decide for yourself. My duty is only to speak the truth, he insisted. I'm sorry. I can't say anything else but the truth. May I continue? Mean asked humbly. Yes, please do, I replied. The result of the explosion at the Earth's core was not only to initiate the rotation, but also to propel the planet into space. The world is now floating in space, with the Sun and another 8 or 9 stars orbiting nearby. Through its propulsion, it rotates around the most powerful object in the area, the Sun, while pulling its neighboring stars to orbit the Sun. Don't tell me that besides making the world revolve around itself, we also make our solar system rotate. I protested. You understand correctly, Mean insisted. Oh no, I'm confused. It feels more like we're talking about the sci-fi TV show, Ultraman, Tales of Protecting the Universe. I said, please allow me to explain a little bit more. I know very well that you still have yet to get over the old paradigm that everything must be proven. Speculating with no reference is hard to accept, he said in his humble demeanor. The surface of the Earth is subjected to a variety of forces, such as gravity, the impact of mass, wind force, and magnetic fields, etc. So the motion of anything is dependent on the individual conditions of those forces and their different possibilities. For example, if you roll a ball on the street, it stops after a while. It stops because it is met with the resistance of the forces that I have mentioned. If you roll the ball in outer space, it will roll on seemingly forever, almost never stopping, and far beyond what you can estimate. That is because it is operating in different conditions. Min said, "The world is floating in outer space which is weightless. So, if you lift something, be it a pen, a car, a cargo ship, a mountain or even the whole world, they all have zero weight in space. Therefore, our world is not subjected to any resistance that you are used to," he added.